Well, hello everybody. How you doing today? Yes, you're made it for the off night. Welcome to the show. And I'm basically going to do a quick intro for your host and MC, Mr. Mark Sweetman.
Hey, there we are, right there. That was pretty quick. I like that.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm getting used to it.
Good. We're into episode 281. Oh, look, you know what? While I'm here, let me fix this. Here we go. Let me show you this one. There you go. Please click the like button. Also subscribe on your YouTube page. There's the address, youtube.com/@theoffnight.
Yeah.
There you go. Go ahead. Give us some more, what do you ever call it? YouTube cred, I guess.
YouTube cred?
YouTube cred. All right.
Very nice.
We'll come back to that during the night. Let's show what's our other one say here? Oh, this is where you can leave comments. If you type those comments at this page. Oh, no. This is where you watch it on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube right now, that's hard to believe. But this is where all of our episodes are. It's on that youtube.com/@theoffnight/streams. I can't do anything about the name of it. It's called Streams. That's what we are. But at least I was able to get the off night in there.
Streams of the off night.
And there you go. And you can watch us there. And then what's this other one? If you'd like to join the fun. Wait a minute. What did I miss here? I'm missing something.
Joke runs through it. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. This is the current show right here, that UT3CYXISHD. That I'm going to try to make easier in the coming months. But right now we get a different code. It's generated by their system. I don't create that code. But anyway, if you want to join us, if I know who you are and you show up in my what they call the dashboard for the show, if I know who you are, I'll probably talk to you offline. And then if you have anything interesting, we'll put you on. And what else have we got here? Oh, we need to bring Susan out here because she wanted to come up early. So I made this for her. The Off Night's Weekly News Poem by Susan Sweetman. So let's get Susan out here.
Let's get to it.
There we go. And there she is.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hey.
Happy Monday to you.
Good to see you.
You too.
Are you ready to give us our news of the week in verse?
Sure. There's a lot of news this week, so I only picked a few headlines. There's way too many.
Did I print it out? I didn't print it out. Okay, I'll follow along while you read. Okay, here's Susan Sweetman with our news of the week in verse.
All right, here you go. Selena Gomez was looking hot. To Benny Blanco, she tied the knot. Now in Portland, an invasion by Trump. The Oregon mayor is really stumped. He says it's calm. There is no looting. Elsewhere are wars and a church shooting. With hurricanes and severe weather in our nation, Prez claims global warming is just a woke creation. Green energy, says Trump, is just a scam. Yet he'd struggle to read green eggs and ham. Trump warns of Tylenol because he cannot pronounce acetaminophen. Illiterate president and ignorant louse. Never mind. Please make no connection. It's just an Epstein Files deflection. And that's your poem.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, let's get Jason out here so that you can. I know you have to leave us very, very early today.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do.
So we'll get Jason out here, and you can say your. Oh, it's Jason and Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith. No, Jason and the robot.
Danger,
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Will Robinson.
We're about to engage in all manner and sorts of activities that would have not cleared the censors on the Tiffany network back in '65. That's for sure.
Yikes.
That was a CBS show. I remember now.
Yeah. There you go. Thanks for the poem, Susan, by the way.
You're welcome. Sorry to read and run, but I gotta go.
No,
Okay.
I get it completely. I get the same effect when I do the senior citizen speedball, which is that Metamucil and Imodium taken at the same time.
We'll see you We'll see you next week, sweetheart.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye.
See you, Susan.
Yeah, you take that kind of a combo and you're wondering just what's going to happen and when. It's, there you go. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
She didn't mention, I think because she probably wrote the poem before today's news, that
Oh,
there's
no.
the peace plan in Gaza. Did you guys catch any of that?
No. We're going to bomb the entire area with huge thermonuclear
No,
weapons.
In a way, I'm kind of, I kind of like, because of this, that Trump doesn't make it to the third or fourth line of any memo he's given, because
Yeah.
everything's got to be summarized in the first two lines for him to grasp it,
Yeah, it has to be a single page. You can't go
Otherwise,
past a single page.
He might end up losing a debate to Joe Biden or something. I don't know.
Well,
go on. I interrupt. Go on.
You're never going to lose it. It's hard to lose a debate to Joe Biden.
Oh, dear.
That doesn't mean, just because I said that about Biden doesn't mean I don't think that Trump is from the pit of hell.
Actually, if one goes back to the vice presidential debate back when he was running for vice president for the second term, when he wiped the floor with whatever turnip that Romney was running with, I can't even remember.
It was Ryan from Wisconsin.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, talk about it. If you wanted to do it just a little bit better, if you'd want to have just a little more perfect, instead of having Paul Ryan, you should have just had a cardboard cutout of Paul Ryan standing next to Mitt Romney, or better yet, a cutout cardboard thing of Mitt Romney, and that's like the perfect Republican creation right there.
Well, here's the funny thing: the Democrats, when they think of guys like McCarthy and Ryan and these guys they had to deal with Boehner from Ohio, all these guys that they thought were horrible, they'd love to have those guys back.
Are you talking about Charlie McCarthy?
No, I'm talking about Kevin McCarthy.
Eugene McCarthy, and I'm sorry, I'm being deliberate. Hey, look, and one thing to not to get into Susan, if she were still here, I would bring this up. The one thing that we should maybe perhaps be a little less blithe about is that even Tylenol does say not for use by pregnant women.
That is true.
So let us be fair about that.
Did you hear what Nancy Mace said? You know who Nancy Mace is?
Oh, I know. Do I know who she is? Are you kidding? I've acquired several of her garments. Never mind. Go on. Yes. What did she say?
Is that how she raises funds now?
Well,
hey,
listen, pal. If someone's willing to pay you $75 for something, you listen, right? I mean,
no. She said, don't take Tylenol, take Motrin.
Yeah.
Which is even worse. They tell pregnant women to stay away from Motrin. They tell non-pregnant women to stay away from Motrin.
There you go.
And I just know this because my wife worked at Children's Hospital before she got into law. She was in medicine,
and she knows the thing about being a pregnant woman.
And she knows a few things. Yeah. Yes, anyway, the thing about ibuprofen or Motrin is that it never leaves you.
No.
It's a forever chemical.
Yep. And I'm all in favor of it. I've been downing crap loads of it for ages, waiting for the angel of death to show up just so I can shout, "It's about time. What took you so long?"
And what was wrong with aspirin? What was wrong with
nothing?
Good old salicylic acid.
Nothing. It's great.
Well, aspirin I thought was supposed to lead towards that disorder with kids. Was that
Rye syndrome?
Rye syndrome.
Yeah, you're right. Well, in that case, you give them the orange stuff, St. Joseph's.
There you go.
I tell them
that. I love St. Joseph's. In fact, I loved it too much. They probably should have made it taste so much like candy,
Yeah, I remember. Made it orange flavor, so we thought it was candy.
Hey, kid, you want to try some of this? It's candy. Yeah. Oh, by the way.
Here you go, kid.
Does this rag smell like ether? Man. I'm sorry, guys. Look, it's October, but don't worry. After October, I'll be going straight to hell.
Speaking of that, did you know that we are in? Oh, wait a minute! I should take off that Susan thing here. Sorry, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to this. There we go. We're back in the 200. We're at the 281st episode of the Off Night.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing pretty good here.
Yeah, cooking right along.
Right along.
Yeah.
But loose and fancy free.
There you go. Oh, God, don't get me started, guys. I ever since Robert Redford passed away, I've been all about the 70s. All this, I spent 50 years trying to suppress
So-
it, and now it's back.
You've been
So
watching
this,
any
like-
of the Robert Redford films?
I started looking up Robert Redford films, and
Yeah.
I came. This is kind of funny, because what happened was I came across this YouTube of Redford and Paul Newman working on The Sting,
Yes.
Yeah.
and it was like a document, well, basically promotion for The Sting, and what they were doing is they're interviewing these guys about how different The Sting was from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, even though it was directed by the same guy. Same guy directed both of them.
Yeah, the Bill Phillips production people.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, but what they were talking about was that Paul Newman was throwing out one-liners and improvs and stuff like that, like he did during Butch Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
And the director had to pull him aside and say, "You're throwing Bob off." He goes, "Oh no, Bob likes this. We did this. We did this in Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid." And he says, "Yeah, well, we made that 5 years ago. We're not making that film again. We're doing a different film now." So Newman had to rein it in a little bit. He couldn't be as improvisational as he had been for the Butch Cassidy Sundance.
Butch Cassidy, best line, is it, "You think you used too much dynamite there, Butch?" Or the rules for a knife fight.
Rules for a knife fight.
Yeah, there are no rules in a knife fight.
Okay.
My favorite line in that film is, "Swim? You're gonna drop from the fall."
Fall alone is gonna kill you.
My favorite comes from what you get for living in Colombia and Bolivia is colorful. I become colorful.
So anyway, once I got down that rabbit hole of
Mark,
Newman,
there we go.
so but by the time I did get to a film, I ended up watching Casino, which has nothing to do with either of those guys.
God.
But it was with Pesci and
De
Niro and Sharon Stone.
Performance of a lifetime for Sharon Stone.
You know who was great in that, and I didn't realize.
Bobby Wood.
James Wood.
James
Wood.
Yeah.
He was good, but you know who was really good in that film was Don Rickles. Yeah. And I had forgotten that he was even in the thing. So that's how good he was. I forgot he was in it.
No, he, again, a graduate of the Actors Studio, if memory serves.
Yep.
And the guy who.
Yeah, because he wasn't he started out as an actor. He wasn't a comic.
Right. He was Run Silent. He was in Run Silent, Run Deep.
Run Deep, yeah. And he could do a knockdown, drag-out, killer version of Clark Gable. I heard him do it once on Johnny. Johnny begged him to finally do it, and he did it, on the couch, and it was wonderful to hear him do a couple lines of Clark Gable. Clearly, it wasn't something that was in his regular repertoire when he was insulting the audience and saying things that would now get you, hung from a nail in the town square and pelted with rotten fruit.
Two other comics had credits before the director at the beginning of the movie. I think there were about 3 or 4 more comics that had credits at the end that didn't have speaking roles. But Alan King and Kevin Pollak were in that film too.
Oh yeah, Alan King is great, and that's like his last role in Casino, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was, because that was like 2001, I think, and he died in the early aughts.
Yeah, he died. Well, I don't know. He always looked like the same age, right? He's one of those guys who was born.
Yeah, he's one of those guys when he was 30, he looked like he was 60. I know what you're talking about.
Always had the cigar. Even I'm sure he was like 12 years old, putting it out, going in to do his bar mitzvah. And just has to put it down before he can go and do the bar mitzvah. Picks it up just as soon as they're done.
Alan King has one of my favorite lines. Sam and I used to talk about this all the time. One of my favorite all-time lines, all-time in stand-up comedy, was Alan King was the one who had the line, "You know why Jewish men die before their wives?
Because they can?
Because they want to."
Because they want. Yeah.
I love that line. That is so funny.
He is one of those guys, though, who manages to sort of bridge that's the sort of Borscht Belt comedy and bring it around a little more conversational. The sort of thing that we'd see a little more of in the 60s, where it was less about the, a Jan Murray setup takedown, Henny Youngman sort of thing. instead, Alan King was sort of standing up there, sort of like telling stories with jokes and little things in there. He was one of my favorite stand-ups. He was, it was a lot of fun to watch, but sadly.
All right.
Uh,
Before we went on the air, we were talking about Brett Summers.
Yes.
And I did look her up.
Oh dear, yeah. And you can too on Tinder.
She was a member of the Actors Studio in New York.
Yeah.
But probably what she's most famous for, she played Felix Unger. Who's the opposite of Felix Unger?
Yes.
In the Odd Couple.
Played his
the
wife.
Played the ex-wife. Played the ex-wife of what was his name? Felix and
we had Felix Unger and Oscar Madison.
She played Oscar Madison's ex-wife.
Yeah.
You know how she got that role?
Well, you're asking me that question. Go ahead.
She was Jack Klugman's real life wife.
Real life wife. Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
So that'll get you a show and some talk show cred,
And Klugman, who again, a rangy, with a guy who doesn't seem like he'd have a lot of range, had a lot of range. He was in some of the best Twilight Zone episodes ever. I'll
tell you what, her Broadway lineup, Broadway lineup sounds to me like a bunch of dirty jokes.
Okay.
Listen to all these movies he was in. Maybe Tuesday, A Rage to Live, The Country Girl, 7-Year Itch, and Happy Ending. Those were her Broadway. That just sounds like a series of dirty jokes you told in middle school.
That definitely sounds like a Pornhub kind of lineup there. Yeah. That's in this jaded time, in this modern age when everything is all about the sleaze and whatnot. And when the parent company, without losing our family audiences, we all know this is a family show. Manson family, the Corleone family,
who are the brothers in Beverly Hills that killed their parents?
Those guys, that family, the Menendez family,
the Menendez
family. But the parent company of Pornhub is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that is now traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and I believe it's also it's on the tech one, the NY whatever, the other one where all the techie stocks go. NASDAQ. Yeah. It should tell us.
Isn't it a Canadian company?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
It's called Mind Freak is the name of the company. Yeah, tell me about it. And given the material, because I've actually
why don't they just call it Stiff Tissues?
Well, exactly. Yeah. By the way, that's my dancer name from the late 1980s.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage.
Tissues. Which also sounds like sort of like some kind of surgeon undertaker kind of thing. I'm not sure how that would work out, but something, some sort of like it reminded what was Dr. Kevorkian? He's a pathologist? Was that
Yes, he dealt with dead patients. Basically, he was a doctor that dealt with dead patients.
Nothing but dead people, right? Yeah. And also one of the craziest, most insane painters of all time. If you've ever seen his paintings,
I've seen some of those paintings.
It was like a night gallery episode every time. It made John Wayne Gacy look downright festive. I mean,
I can only imagine that if you go to the Jeffrey Feiger law offices, you probably walk down the hallway with a bunch of those paintings on the wall.
Yeah, as you're in the sub basement.
Did we lose Jason?
No, I'm here. Hello, I'm here. Hi, I'm here. I think we lost Mark.
Oh, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We kind of bugged out there for a second. I don't know what happened.
Oh, the modern technology.
Well, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can see you. So we're good.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's Andy doing? He's like slightly off camera doing something. I don't know. Yeah.
Actually, that looks like he might have frozen. He might be the one that froze us out there because look, he looks frozen. Oh no.
No, there he is. He's coming back in. I think he's coming back and gonna do that thing that he does where he does a duet as Paul Williams and Anton LaVey.
Oh, I like that. He's kind of got that Paul Williams look. He's got the curly hair in the back. He's got the knit cap. That's a Paul Williams look. Paul Williams is still around.
Remember when he would do stuff with Pat McCormick, who was about what 9'7"? They had
their own TV show. Didn't they have one of the when they started losing Columbo and McCloud and all those other mystery movies? Didn't they come up with a mystery movie vehicle for those two guys?
There was something along those lines. I know that Paul Williams is one of the guys when David Bowie.
What TV
got to
show
LA,
did Pat Williams and Pat McCormick star in? Here we go. They were in Big. They played Big and Little Enos and Smokey in the Bandit film trilogy. The movie they were in was called Rooster, and they also appeared in the episode of The Fall Guy. And what else?
Right.
Rooster, 1982. The Fall Guy, 1983. I thought they actually gave them a show.
Well, I mean, it was a time when networks would greenlight things like Pink Lady and Jeff. So,
you know what? I had a chance back in the day when I traveled cross country. I ran into Jeff Altman.
Really?
And, at an airport, and we were both waiting for flights, and I got to ask him about that. He said the network didn't really want him. It was just one of those things where it was kind of thrown together as a summer replacement, and they did better than the network wanted it to. So they go, oh no, we got to continue this.
Well, I know it became like sort of a historic flop. In that they spent a ton of money on it, and it was one of these shows where you had sort of like these guests were coming in via a video. You know, they would tape a video segment, and then they would introduce them. But
Pink Lady, their first language was not English.
No, they're totally Japanese. All the English they did, they had to do phonetically. Someone had to teach them. You know,
and they had the cue cards all phonetically written out. Yeah.
Right. You know, so again, and it just one of those shows that it sort of is impressive by My Mother the Car standards for weird TV shows that only lasted a few episodes. And
he told me that Mitzi and Bud loved it because he was still working out at their clubs, and it gave them network performers that would perform on their stage.
Oh, I bet. I mean, and again, I don't know anything about Jeff Altman other than what I saw. He was Pink Lady.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. I got to work with him a couple of times. Not so much to get to know him. The guys you really got to know is when you went on the road and you worked with somebody like a whole week. This is back when we did Tuesday through Sunday shows. Monday was the off night. Oh, just like now. Anyway, and we were doing 7 or 8 shows a week, sometimes 9, depending on what city you were in.
Wow.
And you really got to know these guys because, you know, you'd be at the club for 2 to 3 hours.
And then,
and then you'd be in the condo.
9 shows. How does that work? What is it like Wednesday through Sunday? Or
you had the place we had 9 shows was in Atlanta, Houston. What was the other one? Denver. Ridley never did 3 shows Friday, 3 shows Saturday, but those towns. Oh, and these are towns that were not big enough to be Chicago, New York, or LA.
Right.
But they were big. But they were big enough to be able to sell out 250 to 300 seat rooms 3 times Friday, 3 times Saturday. So that was 6-year shows.
Right.
And then you would have Sunday, Thursday, that's 8, and Wednesday, Wednesday.
So are you like doing for any comedian? But I mean, are you doing the exact same set per? I mean, or are you moving it around?
This was a method that I use, and I tried to pass on to other people. You couldn't get people to do it though. But if you were opening, it was 15 minutes. If you were middling, it was 30 minutes. If you were closing, it was 45. If you were an act that wanted to do more than 45 and you had the cachet, like 8 Lettermans or something like that, they usually bring in their own opener, and then they'd get rid of the MC and the middle act. But what you did, and I started doing this as soon as I started working on the road. Houston, Atlanta were 2 of the places I did it. Orlando. Or I would go in, and I would get in as the 15-minute opener, and I would do a different 15 minutes at every show, and especially when the guy who books it was there, or the guy who reported to the booker. Sometimes you had an agency, and either the manager or the owner would report back to him. So I made sure that if I was doing 3 shows, I was doing 3 different 15-minute sets.
But assume you're, say, the middle guy. You said what, 30 minutes if you're a middle?
30 minutes if you're a middle, and I do the same thing there. I do 2 different 30-minute sets because you wanted to show them that you had the material. Now, maybe they didn't think you were funny enough to close yet. Maybe you didn't have enough TV credits to close yet. But you wanted to show that they were laughing hard and they were laughing loud for 60 minutes.
Well, I've heard some David Spade was talking about when he got cast on SNL. He was out in Arizona, Phoenix, something like that. He's a Western kid. But he said, he wasn't a headliner. He said, I was one of the most dependable middle acts out there, but I wasn't a headliner yet.
That's
and
true.
He ended up getting cast.
Same with Rob Schneider. Dana Carvey was a headliner.
Yeah.
And Kevin Nealon was just starting to be a headliner.
And Nealon's a heavyweight.
But Nealon though, because I was out there when all this was, starting to take place,
Right.
And Nealon didn't want to leave L.A. because he was starting to get acting roles.
Yeah.
So he was like, no, he saw stand-up as sort of a vehicle.
Right.
That might get him a sitcom, because at the time we're talking about, Grace Under Fire, Roseanne, Tim Allen, all these shows we're talking about. So a lot of these people, they would just stay in the middle because they didn't want to go out and headline someplace. There was the lure of all that money. That's why you see a lot of these guys that were big name headliners on the road, weren't anybody except at the clubs.
Right.
They didn't have enough. A lot of these guys would stay in the middle spot, stay in LA and take acting classes.
Well, and you've mentioned many times that it's also sort of a sweet spot in terms of performance.
Oh my God, it's the easiest spot on the show. You got the first guy that's 15 minutes warm up for you. You've got the middle spot. You don't have to. They're not drunk yet. They're not worn out. They haven't laughed for an hour and a half, and they're holding their cheeks because their jaws are hurting, type of thing.
Right.
The middle, and you didn't have to close the show like the MC did. The MC had to wait around to the end. The middle spot is the sweetest spot on the show. It's hard to go from middle to, and especially back when I was working there. I was making $800 to $1,000 a week as the middle. Yeah, I didn't really need to close. That's good money now. That was great money back. That was great money back then.
If someone were to pay me $800, I would be willing to do decorum prevents me from listing all
You'd be able to. You do a lot of things for $800.
Oh, it's yeah. If I list them all, the little box on my ankle is going to start shocking me. So we're gonna avoid that for the time being. It also seems to me like it gives you the freedom to sort of do slightly longer bits, but kind of take the best of the stuff that you have, put it out there, and like I say, you don't have to do that sort of 5-minute intro.
Well, the one thing you couldn't do in the middle is you couldn't do crowd work.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was okay for the opener to do crowd work because you want to get the audience involved, right. Celebrating birth. You kind of want to get all that shit out so that people that want to say something during the show get it out.
Okay. Right.
Now, and sometimes as the middle act, you had to overcome some of that commotion that the MC might have started. But you always saw that as sort of your job,
So you sort of,
but you didn't want to, because a lot of times, if it's just a 2-man show, I like to continue with the first guy's doing.
Right.
I don't have a lot of dirty material, but if the guy before me, if the guy before me works dirty, I told my dirtiest joke right up front, and I even said, "This is my dirtiest." I would say, "It's my dirtiest joke," and I would tell it, and of course, it was filthy and funny.
Right.
But you try to start off at the same level that they're at, and then bring them back to where you are.
Okay.
That's what I tried to do anyway. That didn't always work, but it took a lot of years to get used to doing that.
Dennis Miller once related that he's on the road and he's a headliner, and he hears the crowd out in the club is really having a good time, and so he knows whoever's out there, they're killing it right now. And I'm sure as a headliner, you got to be conscious of that, right? And he asked, "Who's up there right now?" And his guy says, "Oh, it's just some local housewife." It was Roseanne. It's Roseanne on her way up.
some local
So,
housewife.
but at the time, that's what she was.
That's what she was. You're right.
That's the original persona she crafted. I'm a domestic goddess.
Mhm.
And it was a time when you had women comedians who were coming out there and holding their own with the dudes. I mean, of course, we Judy Tenuta, which we've spoken of many times, but you could talk about Judy a lot because heck of a comedian. God, she was good.
Roseanne's favorite line that I liked was, "I breed well in captivity."
Whose line? Who are you talking about? Roseanne? Whose line?
Roseanne.
Okay.
She would say, "I breed well in captivity."
My favorite line of Roseanne's was when she goes, a lot of people come up to me and they say, Roseanne, you're not very feminine. I say, well, suck my dick.
Oh God.
I'm just reminded of it now because my son turns 40 next month. And in the last month of pregnancy, I worked with Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And my favorite line of hers, when I was working with, I don't think she does this anymore, but because at the time she was auditioning for acting roles, and she was on Star Search or something like that. And so she had an agent that was trying to get her into acting roles. I mean, she became pretty much an actress after a while,
right?
Less of a stand-up. But at the time she was saying, she says, the only problem is she had this New York accent. She could only talk in the New York accent. And they go, like, could you talk without that accent? And she say, yes, I can. But I have to say one syllable at a time. And if I do that, I cannot blink. My eyes remain wide open like they are right now. Oh, God, that was so funny. The way she did it was so funny.
What about Seinfeld? Another, he manages to control his accent rather nicely so that it sounds like, sort of the East Coast of the U.S., but it's not.
I love when people dip back into their old neighborhood accent, though. Those crack me.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Shandling, I think he was always a West Coast guy.
He's another Phoenix. He's another Phoenix comic.
Oh, Phoenix. Okay.
You talked about Dave.
Yeah.
But he's also a Phoenix comic.
And the first time I see him on Carson again, he's incredibly well composed.
He killed his.
You can see a couple little spots where he's just a little bit nervous if you're looking for it, you know what to see. If you're not looking for it, you won't even notice that it's there. But a
lot of those guys, we would always watch everyone's set with them because they tape the shows at 5 p.m.
Right.
So we'd always watch either at the Improv or the Comedy Store, and we'd be sitting there at the bar watching with the guy that's on stage on TV, sitting there with us, watching their first Carson.
You could tell Stephen Wright was nearly petrified, but because of the elements because of his character, he could have you could have a little bit of mortification in there, and it just only made his character better.
That did make it. You're right. Now that's the one case where the either stage fright or nerves or whatever made that act even better.
Right, because he gets called over to the couch, and he's not quite sure whether to go out of character or not. But it went. I mean, obviously, it worked out for Stephen Wright. We don't need to worry. He's not in government housing. He's not, Section 8. Not like me, where I'm looking at various street people, thinking, well, I could kill him and take his clothes, but I don't know. That might be a little much at this point, but we're keeping it. We're going to thumbnail that one though, because I like.
If you want to wear a nasty Mountain Dew shirt, is that really what you want to wear around?
Well, but on Casual Friday.
Got it.
I mean, look, I've recently, you might be certainly Mark won't because he actually managed his money, but people like me not so much. But Andy, you might be able to commiserate. There's this communistic plot that's going on that I'm enmeshed in. I am receiving money from the government in the form of Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
It comes into my bank account, and then it is slowly leached out and used to pay bills. Mm-hmm. Can you believe this?
Yes.
I mean,
that's not communism.
It seems like it to me.
It's just foreign to you.
As you're conservative, I mean, if you want to follow your conservative principles, then just send it back. Don't take it.
No. I want to keep it so that I can spend it on things I need, like hookers and booze and like 3-day weekends at like a cheap casino somewhere on an Indian reservation.
How much are they giving you?
Well, not a lot.
Okay, well, slow your roll, buddy.
Yeah. Are you
That you-
suggesting that my expectations were a bit skewed? Is that what you're trying to
what I'm
tell
saying
me?
is they know what they're doing when they only give it to you once a month.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I suppose you have a point there, but I'm like, I finally, I've struck the lottery. Oh, hold on, they're using it. I'm paying bills with this. This is an outrage. No, this is America.
Are you on Medicare yet?
No, but we're getting there. I know I'm not on Medicare yet because St. Joe keeps sending me bills for my recent stay. Which, by the way, I have spent lots of places where I
Bring
was
me
in
anything?
sort of cement walls where I didn't get paid $5,000 to stay there. I was
You can
being
take those if you want.
indicted. It was fine, and yeah. So I mean, I'm getting all these fees that I have to pay for my medical assistance, and I'd have been happier if they'd have just given me some, a fentanyl speedball or something, and and I could have. But yeah, they see me as a cash cow. It's all part of. It's all a plot. It's all. That's what this is. All big pharma using me like I'm a corpulent prop from the worst version of the Matrix ever. Where just
All
plug
right,
me into.
if you're gonna take everything, that happens out there and shape it at how it is, it's against you. That's our side. Your side doesn't do that. Our side.
Haven't you figured out yet that I'm not really on a side per
That's true.
se?
Well, that's true. That's true. Otherwise, you'd have to castrate yourself.
No. It's the only thing I'm good at this point. No, they're staying. I need those fellers. I don't know how much good they're doing me at this point, but after all these years, I'm not like one of these little purple-haired little whatever they are. These little wokesters who want to sit there and take a dull knife to their lower regions, saying, "I've had it with you, dangling dictators of despair, and now it's time to go, and I'm going to become a woman." And it's like, oh, good for you. I mean, I've seen German films with that theme, but it's just a movie. It's not real. But some people are taking it that way. So there you go. I don't know what to tell you. So,
Dangling dictators.
dictators of
Fair.
despair
Very
in
good.
a
Oh,
pouch of
the
cheap
alliteration is just
cheap
French
leather.
kiss.
Yes, I'm stealing that from Paul Bartels, the brilliant writer, satirist, and an actor from Remember Eating Raoul.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of they were in a movie that he wrote about the sort of decadent Hollywood scene. That's one of the lines that he creates for some really bad screenwriter, the kind of screenwriter who might have actually written Return to the Love Canal, which again is always the musical I've always wanted to see, but no one's had the guts to produce yet. So
When I was in film studies at Wayne State University, I had a fellow filmmaker that was a classmate, and he did a film called Love Canal Boat.
That's cool.
That's good. Again, I would pay money. If he got backers, I would have paid to see that. That's definitely, I like that. The Love Canal Boat.
He did a music based on the Ventures what do you call it? Instrumental called Telstar. Remember Telstar?
Yeah.
Anyway, he did. This is before the music. We're talking about back in the late 1970s, early 1970s. This is before MTV and music video.
Yes.
And so he did one. He used that, and the whole length of the film was like 3 minutes because that's how long the song was. And the film was called Better Than Food, and it was a silent except for this music playing.
Right.
And it was these rich society ladies taking these poor black kids out to play miniature golf. As sort of their good deed. And it was to the music of Telstar. To this day, I can't get that out. Every time I hear Telstar, I see these fish angle lenses with these ladies looking into it.
Telstar is actually, it's an interesting story. It is actually the first British single to reach #1 on the U.S. pop charts about a year before the Beatles.
Really?
And it is the work of a producer named Joe Meek. And he was a guy who believed that the studio was the instrument. And he sort of had this crash together studio above this what was it? It was a luggage shop somewhere in London, and he was upstairs making up like the sound of the rocket taking off in Telstar is actually a microphone that's been dropped into a toilet that's been flushed and then played backwards, and all these things that people were doing at the time. And allegedly the guy who plays lead guitar on Telstar, there's a little lead in there, is Richie Blackmore of Deep Purple fame
I
plays
remember
as
him.
him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sadly, Joe Meek went completely batshit crazy.
Oh,
He was into Ouija boards and speed, and he also, at a time when it was still kind of illegal, like by kind of I mean very, got caught trying to solicit men for who knows what. Well, we know what. In a park, he got busted for that, and then later on, ended up killing himself and killing his landlady.
oh
Um,
shit.
and here's the final bit of irony. Telstar was a huge hit. He never saw a dime of royalties because it was wrapped up in litigation by some French composer who says the main theme was his, and the case was then settled a few weeks after Joe Meek's body finally reached room temperature. And it's like, well, where's Mr. Meeks? It's like, well, it's the third headstone to the left. Take
Yeah,
the check
jeez.
over there. Yeah, it's sort of so there's this interesting story, and Kevin Spacey is in a movie about this guy, and again, it's Kevin Spacey, but he plays the role wonderfully, and it's just he's a very interesting
Has,
character.
Is that
has
K-Pac?
anybody done? What's that?
What movie is that in? K-Pac?
No, this is it's called Telstar. It's like if
Telstar,
you look,
okay.
yeah, if you look it up, it's called Telstar, and one of the guy who plays Joe Meek was
Kevin
later
Spacey.
in the HBO series Chernobyl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
That's,
Joe-
that's, Chernobyl's a great series. That's an excellent.
Chernobyl's a fantastic series.
Yeah, when everybody tells me about how important psychology
The
is, I use
the film stars Con O'Neill,
Yes.
who also played Joe Meek in the original play,
Okay.
and Kevin Spacey, who plays Meek's business partner.
Right.
Wow. 2008.
Yep. And who later takes him for everything. But Joe Meek was just he literally he's a good example. Well, first off, of the way gay people were literally horribly persecuted in Great Britain at the time. One of the Beatles songs that is sort of a gay anthem is "Hide Your Love Away," and if you ever really look at the lyrics in that, you can kind of see where, here I am, head in hand, face turned to the wall. It's sort of a sort of reference to the way things were at that time, because it wasn't decriminalized in Great Britain till the late 60s or like 1970, something along those lines. And
when was that Stonewall? When did Stonewall happen?
that's like 68 or 69. And Stonewall gets way too
James-
much pub.
James
Yes.
Corden. James
Yes.
Corden was in that Telstar movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a fun movie, but it's sad.
Have you now? In the last few months, I've gotten into the Badfinger story. You guys familiar with that?
that again, that'll break your heart, man. That
One,
story's
to
terrifying.
to me, that's an opera.
Yes, it's a
And I
tragedy.
think they have done enough music that never really got released because of their shifty manager and the deal. They moved from Apple Records, where they weren't happy. It was basically their manager was screwing them.
Yeah.
But they thought it was Apple Records, and so they went to
No.
Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers, he was making promises to Warner Brothers that they couldn't keep, and so
Right.
they're here. They think it's all the record companies all the time, and then they find out it's their manager.
Right.
And the lead singer first he kills himself, and then the guitarist kills himself.
Yes.
And I only got into this last March when their bass player was the last one. Their drummer died.
Yeah.
About 15 years ago, and then this guy just died last March, and none of them are left. But what a tragedy! Perfect for opera.
Right.
I'd love to find out some of their music.
And the thing is, they had huge hits.
They do have huge hits.
Yeah, I mean, Nilsson got a big hit with "I Can't Live."
Yes,
that's a Badfinger song.
yes, it is.
And Harry Nilsson.
And their first song was a McCartney song.
Yes, exactly.
Because they were George Harrison's backup band in the concert for Bangladesh.
Yes.
And what else did they do? There was something else they did. They were backup. They did instruments on one of the last Beatle albums, because they were coming into Apple
Yeah,
about the
and
time the
they were
Beatles
the
were
first.
breaking up.
They were the
Yeah.
first band that was signed by Apple
Signed by
Records.
Apple Records. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Anyway,
think
just a horrible story. Three
right.
Welshmen and an Englishman.
And at that time, the mob was still running British, well, a lot of British things, but the entertainment industry. One of the guys who allegedly, just in case I get sued, because Sharon is still Sharon Osbourne is the daughter of Don Arden. Don Arden is one of these guys who absolutely ripped off everyone he came near. One of the guys who worked for Don Arden as a henchman was a guy named Peter Grant, who saw the way the bands were being treated. Peter Grant is a former pro wrestler in Great Britain and a bartender and bouncer. He ended up going in and helping out the Yardbirds on their very last album. They fell apart during that album, and he started to sidle up next to Jimmy Page, who had told him about he had another project called Led Zeppelin, and he became the manager for Led Zeppelin. And Peter Grant figured out that actually, if these guys get their money and get paid, why, hold on, they're a lot happier. They produce more records. Everyone makes a ton more money. And Don Arden, who was his former mentor and boss, went on to sign Black Sabbath, and he proceeded to screw Black Sabbath out. A good example, just one example. Black Sabbath had been on a world tour. It's 1972 or 73, 74. They're the biggest band in the world at that time. They get booked to do one single gig for £250,000. That's about $500,000 at the time. It is
Right.
at the California Jam concert, 1973. One show, 2.5 hours. They fly out there. They do the show. 2.5 hours, great show. Each member of the band got £1,000. The rest of the money goes into the LLC, the holding, and is never seen again.
Yeah, we didn't have
So,
LLCs back then, but I know what
well,
you're talking about.
whatever, the holding corporation, the British
Right.
equivalent of a, because they would create these just layer upon layer of these holding corporations and operating corporations. It was a huge scam, but essentially,
Kind of like movie studios today.
oh God, well, remember, I mean, you know about this, so does Andy. Do you take your money up front or do you take your money on the back end? Well, you take the money up front because movies like The Godfather are still in the red according to some of the crazy accounting that they do. So
Well,
yeah,
Nicholson was the one that started the whole. All right,
yeah,
I'm going to take my percent. I'll take my
Yeah.
percent, 10% off the gross, not off the profits.
For the joke. Remember, he got paid to do the Joker, $16 million, and he
Yeah.
got a slice of the toys, and people were
Right.
screaming at him for being greedy, and it's like Jack's just getting paid.
Yeah.
He's worked at that point. He's worked his whole life in movies, kind of like to get paid.
Well, and it did now the same time, same kind of actor, same age, same reputation, everything was God, the guy from Easy Rider. I'm trying to think of his name now.
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper,
Yeah.
the same thing. He didn't take the Jack Nicholson approach.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he was out. He was just going to get movies, and he barely made it.
Barely broke even. There's a great interview with him late in life, and he was also notorious for modern art and modern art collecting, and he said, "Oh, I remember Warhol came out with. I bought one of the original tomato soup can. I bought it for $100." And he said, "What? That's amazing! $100? Yeah. Where is it?" He goes, "Oh, I lost it in a divorce. I'm not sure which. Like the first one, I think." No, painting that would be
that's where his money went, Yeah,
we're tens of millions of dollars. An original Andy Warhol silk screen.
All right, we got 10 minutes left, and I did want to talk sports since we talk movies, comedy, and sports.
That's right. We're your drive-by team.
What's that? Well, we got one team in the playoffs, one headed toward the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I expect some decent things out of the Pistons this year. Although all of our general managers here in Detroit don't do a lot of tinkering with putting together teams like in the old days. And I think a lot of it has to do with how much they can sustain the team.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, first of all, their boss is the owner, not the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fans want the championship, but the owner would rather put 2 million fans in the seats every season and have it sustained than to go out and buy and get that championship where you get 3 million seats in the season. There are 3 million seats sold in a season. And then for the next 10 years, you're rebuilding and struggling and all that stuff because the team falls apart. And I think that's pretty much what our 4 general managers are doing. And I know the fans get frustrated with it, but they're not working for the fans. They're working for the owners of the teams. And the owners of the teams have put so much money into these things that, I mean, it's really a business. And those that have had it, like the Illiches and the Fords, it's kind of like a legacy for their children and grandchildren too. I don't see the Fords or the Illiches ever selling anything off.
Well, the Illiches makes more sense because it's pizza.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, their whole thing is connected to sports events, connected to people eating, you know, and buying pizza. Yeah. Where the Ford product is basically it's a truck.
Yeah,
it's advertising.
How many trucks do you sell?
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Speaking of that, I don't think it's very long before all these sports books, all the casinos are going to own all the teams.
Guys,
because that seems to be what they're selling it now is the gambling.
And I got to tell you, the gambling is absolutely evil. The apps are absolutely evil. Don't ever go near any of them. They are designed to algorithmically figure out how much money you have in the bank, how much money you can come in, and how much they can bleed you forever and always. And
well, here's the good news about that is that we're dismantling the government, so there'll be nobody there to protect anybody. So
exactly, this is the way it should be. You will all be on your knees to the big corporate machine. Now, all of you.
I just want to ask everybody that's thinking about strapping a bomb to themselves and going into the casino, please do not blow yourself up where all the players are. They're people, victims just like you. Please find the corporate offices and the head office.
Or if Mark has a 3-day show at one of the casinos downtown, please pick the next week to do that.
Yes, don't disrupt my show.
No. Mark's got a 3-day
sporting events. Did you guys see that? How many people were in the stadium?
Which
for that country and western guy?
Yes, I did. I had a private.
Who's the country? All right, who's the country and western guy, and what does it have to do with sports?
Zach Bryan. Well, it was at the Michigan Stadium. It was the largest ticketed event apparently ever, and this is the first concert at Michigan Stadium.
Yeah,
it was huge. I mean.
Didn't hear anything. Isn't that something that I would be so close to it and not hear anything about it? That's why.
Well, you know.
Well, it's like, you know, but I did pick up a couple of guys heading down in there. It was pretty tied up. But
if it was country music, my ignorance
there was no kickoff, you know.
So, yeah.
So it was a constant, steady throng of people coming in. They were just worried about getting there for Mayor, who was the opening act. Surprising.
Yeah.
And you know, it was just weird. I mean, it's like I had two really good runs out of there, but
I was fortunate. One of my regular clients called me up and just booked me for the day. So
nice.
Yeah. He just at the end we didn't even discuss price, and at the end he just said, "Here's $250."
Oh, nice.
Well, then the thing is,
that's cool.
Had he hired a limousine company or a town car company, he'd have paid more than that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he'd paid a lot more. So, and for me, I didn't have to deal with picking them up, dropping them off, driving there, driving here. It's just like, no, I'm dropping you off here. I'll be, you just send the signal. I'll be in front of whatever place you need me at in 5 minutes.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I know the town. You know the town, all that, and everything.
Yeah. So it's gonna have that's a great way to personalize it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't even expecting that much. And he said, "How about $250?" And I'm like, "Sure, I know the wife just went inside, but if you want a handy or something, I can work that out." He's like, "No, just." So it's nice, and it was a huge.
So you're no longer doing like anything for Uber or Lyft, right? You're just basically.
I still have to get I'm at the track again, guys, and I just got overtime for the first time since April, and we all are victims of the auto industry. Some weeks we're like busier than we know what to do with, followed by 3 weeks of layoffs and. God only knows what's going to happen, and you're all being sold for research, to the pet farm down the road. So I still have to deal with Uber. Uber's evil. Uber is the very, very heart and soul of evil corporate rapaciousness, and the sooner that the people who've invested in Uber are all frog marched off to a concentration camp, so that they can watch their children be turned into Soylent Brie. The sooner the world becomes a better place.
Soylent Brie.
But I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm trying to keep a good humor about it while I pull oars on the SS Elon Musk. As we, everyone row faster. Elon wants to go water skiing. Again, it's a Ben-Hur theme. Her again. Yeah. And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you can be from any side of the aisle. It doesn't matter. We've all grown up in this area where one guy, maybe the wife worked part-time, maybe not, but 3-bedroom houses, front yard, backyard, a car, maybe 2. If you were skilled trades, if you were an electrician, you got new snowmobiles every 3 years. Maybe you had a cottage up north.
My son is
40.
changing over. My son Gabe is changing over from computer graphics and animation.
Yeah.
To electronics.
Yeah.
And he's looking at jobs for an electrician.
Yeah.
They're paying like $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
Some of these. I mean, not apprentices, but after you do your apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're paying $80,000 a year. So.
Oh hell yeah! AI is coming to eat his lunch, and he knows it. Yeah. Whereas exactly, if you're one of these guys who knows how to get the cabling just right and do all that, yeah, there's money to be made there.
Or you're willing to climb up a tower,
Hey,
Yeah.
if I were 50 years younger and in better shape like I was back then, I'd do HVAC. Those guys are making bank. I mean, they're on top of the buildings on the hottest day of the year or the coldest day of the year.
Yeah, well, guess what? They only have to do that so many hours, and then they get
That's right.
to their air conditioned.
That's right. And you're getting paid when you're getting called at 2:00 in the morning because the refrigeration packs are out at the Kroger's.
3 minutes left.
All right.
Tigers and Indians start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, last year we were the team that went crazy in August and September and caught up and beat and made the playoffs. This year we have one more win than we had last year, but we did it the opposite way. Yeah. We went way out in front by 15 and a half games and then just barely eked in. So this year, last year's Tigers are this year's Indians. Mm-hmm. And this year's Tigers are last year's Twins. Remember, the Twins were the ones that fell apart last year.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, we play Cleveland on tomorrow.
Speaking of Cleveland, how about them Lions?
How about them Lions, baby?
How about them Lions, baby?
My favorite part of that game was Myles Garrett not getting any sacks, but Aiden Hutchinson getting 2. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, they have a very tough defense. Those 2 guys in the front are always penetrating through. We have a very solid offensive line. I mean,
I would have.
Really didn't have a good offense though. We really had. They really stopped us.
I would have liked to have seen Williamson and Tesla catch a pass, but you know what? I'll take the win no matter what. But you're right. Cleveland has a great defense. They're going to win some games. They beat Green Bay.
Yes, they did. After losing the whole game,
they beat Green Bay for us. And yesterday, Dallas beat Green Bay for us. And I thought the Raiders were going to beat the Bears for us, but the Bears pulled that one out at the end.
The Bears.
Wow.
And the Steelers beat the Vikings for us. So we're back in first. We're back in first place, baby.
Well, I got a soft spot for the Vikings because they got JJ McCarthy, who I've got his pinup calendar blown up life size in my house, so it's hiding right behind the robot.
He played the first game. He hasn't played.
Well,
he hasn't played since Jason Wentz. What's his name?
He's only like 21, 22 years old. I mean, he's a youngin. I mean, I honestly think he's going to have to put on 20 pounds to make it in the NFL. I mean, Andy, you've driven as many yahoos as I have to football games, and you've heard this conversation. Some idiot in back going, I could get out there and do it. You couldn't last. One drill. If I tried to get out there and do one drill with the demo squad, it would be like, we need a wheelbarrow to get the simpering bag of whatever that's lying on the field crying for its mother. That's in college games, let alone pro games. It's dangerous. It would be dangerous. You would lose your life.
Yeah.
You would get killed.
Yeah.
Going out there, going toe to toe with those pro athletes. Look at the baseball players. Back in the day, they'd be hung over with a little bit of a punch.
Yeah. I remember just going from high school to college. I went from high school football, went to college. I could only look at, I was a lineman. In college, I looked at the opposition's belly button. in terms of like how high these guys were, you know. So I knew I wasn't going to make it in college.
Yeah.
As a
All
lineman,
right.
so.
Time to go, fellas.
All right.
All right, we're here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Join us. Contact me if you want to do this show. Let's figure this out. We'll get you on here. I mean, it's just right now it's three bearded white guys talking. Oh, and my wife breaks up the whole beginning of her poem. But anyway,
Yeah.
we do this every Monday night at 8 o'clock. So join us again. See you, everybody. Sam.
All right, see you guys.
Talk afterwards.
Happy Yom, Sam.